Welcome to the Picture This Photography podcast, where we talk about all things photography, and we make a new episode every Wednesday, and you can get that on YouTube or your favorite podcasting app, and it's free as heck. Today, we're going to be talking about, well, the best of. We're doing the 2018 Pixel Awards, and we're going to be working our way down to the best lenses of 2018, the best drones, and the very best camera. In our minds.
Yeah, first we're covering some crazy stuff like the biggest controversy of the year and the biggest disappointment of the year.
Our best guess. Our worst guess.
Who makes all of this possible?
Squarespace. Whether you need a website, domain, or online store, make your next move with Squarespace. They have beautiful templates, 24/7 customer support. It's so easy to do. If you can drag and drop, you can make your own Squarespace portfolio. So go to squarespace.com/Tony. You can get a 14-day free trial, no credit card needed. And if you decide you'd like to keep it after that trial, use the coupon code TONY for 10% off.
Thanks, Squarespace, for sponsoring the first ever Pixel Awards. They're already the most anticipated awards.
Yeah, nobody knew about them.
The photographic community.
Nobody
it's a really
knew
big deal.
They existed until right now, but they're looking forward to it.
Let's talk about the biggest surprise of 2018, and there were a lot. Like after having a good 3-4 years of really boring camera stuff, 2018 really got pretty interesting.
It got turned.
This was this year, believe it or not. 2018 is the longest year in history. It spanned more than a decade,
Yes,
I feel like.
It did.
The GH5S was released this year. That's Panasonic's like higher end video camera. And it shipped with a sensor that was bigger than a Micro Four Thirds sensor, which was just weird, but kind of brilliant because you didn't have to crop for video. And then over the summer, I think the Sony released the A7 III, which was this full frame pro grade camera.
It worked incredibly well, and it's $2,000. That camera shocked me. That was a very pleasant
everybody.
surprise.
That totally screwed over every other camera company as they had to like adjust their prices. Chris and Jordan, our friends and like serious camera reviewers, left the camera store, the channel they built over many years.
And they joined DP Review. They joined forces. That was a shock for us personally, and I'm sure for all of you. We hit 1 million subs, which wasn't actually a surprise. I had been stalking those numbers on Social Blade for a very long time. What else happened, Tony?
Panasonic released an update to the Pentax K1, the K1 Mark II, but the upgrade was so minor you could send your camera into them, and for a couple $100 they would upgrade it.
That's nice.
I've never heard of anything like that
either.
before.
That's kinda
They didn't change the sensor or anything.
Whoa, Nikon released the Z mount.
That was huge.
It blew my mind. Nikon,
The first new mount since like 1958.
Yeah.
I think the first new full frame mount. That was a big deal.
Yeah, that was exciting. And then Canon releases a second mirrorless mount.
Yeah, the R mount, which was their full frame mount, but I thought that was a surprise because they already had a mirrorless mount and they didn't use that same mount. So now they have a separate mount with different incompatible lenses for APS-C and full frame. Surprising choice. And then at the end of the year, Panasonic announces that they're going full frame. And they didn't say that they're abandoning Micro Four Thirds, but what are they going to be developing lenses for both systems and splitting all their R&D effort? Like,
I have no idea, but so many interesting things happened with camera companies this year, and we're kind of getting a glimpse into the future, and I'm very excited about that.
well, what do you think is the biggest surprise of the year?
You doing that little drum roll on your leg?
It's called building anticipation, and people love it, Chelsea. People love it.
I'm sorry. I'm not as pro as you.
I think the biggest surprise of the year was the Sony A7 III being released at $2,000. That completely shook the camera industry. It forever will change how cameras are priced, and it really put Sony on the mark because now everybody could afford to get a Sony in their pocket, and they didn't have to shoot with DSLRs anymore. Really, they could go to mirrorless.
The press was shook at that event because we all go into it looking for negative things because I guess we're all broken, negative people looking to criticize everyone else's work. But we get this camera and we're like, what's wrong with it? It just works really well.
Yeah,
everyone just really liked it.
We were all scrambling to break it and it just kept working.
And we'd be like, are you going to do a banding test tonight? Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to really put it through its paces. How'd it do? It's fine. Everything's fine. The biggest controversy. Oh my gosh, these aren't like big world controversies, but we covered some things and y'all got mad. And this is what happened. Memory cards. We criticized cameras for only having one slot, and everyone lost their mind saying, I only had film and that was fine, or I only had one card slot for this long and that was fine. People lost their minds. The one card slot versus two card slot debate divided people. People died.
Memory cards definitely died. I reviewed the Parrot Anafi, a non-DJI drone, and whoo, I liked it. And DJI people were enraged because for some reason DJI has the most fanatical fans since Fuji.
Which is really weird because they have like a monopoly on the market. It's not like they're the underdogs or anything.
No. And they all claimed I was clearly sponsored by Parrot, which I was not. And it's just because I like clearly demonstrated that DJI drones will often get the props and totally ruin your shot. It's like this serious design flaw, but everybody was mad at me about it. And then I made a video saying that most people shouldn't buy a drone based on me having conversations with lots of people who bought drones and then immediately crashed them or wrecked them or never flew them again. And I said, like, it's not right for most people. But if you're a drone enthusiast, yeah, go for it. And people were infuriated by that. They think everybody should buy a drone all the time.
I actually got a message on Facebook from a kid that I played baseball with when we were 9. And he said, oh man, people are really trashing Tony in my drone forum. And he sent me the link to the DJI drone forum where they were like calling you names and like bashing you personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I released like a 2-hour-long free training course for getting your pro drone cert. All that credit goes out the window as soon as I suggest that maybe other people shouldn't buy something they already bought.
How do you explain that to someone too? I was just like, our job is saying something you'd think nobody would care about and then them attacking you personally.
You're trying to save people some money, man. It makes them mad.
Your color science video, Tony, people loved it and people hated it. Isn't that just the way? You can't make everyone happy, Tony. A lot of people praised you. A lot of people said it couldn't be done, but Tony Northrup has out Northrup Tony Northrup. And a lot of people said you were just wrong and an idiot.
Yeah, of course.
And I apologize for those things I said, Tony. I just can't agree with everything you say.
You know what else? We decided that we loved Canon cameras for shooting video, for vlogging specifically. And people said we're crazy because Canon doesn't have like full width 4K or 4K 60. Like they lose on the feature list. But we just loved it. We switched to the Canon 6D Mark II. And then when the Canon EOS R came out, we're like, it's a little bit better. We're going to switch to that too.
Yeah. So what? You can't tell us what to do?
Sometimes things work even if they don't hit every mark on the feature list. And the Canon cameras do that. They just video good.
They video good. In quotes, Tony Northrup, 2018. The Nikon Z7, now that is an issue that's near and dear to me because I was not happy with the focusing and we talked about it in a video. And boy, did a lot of things happen after that point. There were many videos about our video, many emails telling us that we were wrong. People were upset about that one. What's the biggest controversy, Tony? The suspense is killing me.
The Nikon Z7 focusing, because we were both just personally shook by it. Like we were upset. We couldn't even bring ourselves to publish a video for several days. And then we had these uncomfortable moments when we had to face Nikon. Like the people we were friends with.
Hi.
But we have choice that we have, except to be honest.
Yeah, and then the Canon, who's the conspiracy guy? Camera conspiracy guy? Mm-hmm. He's pretty funny. He made a whole video about how I was scared. I got messages about it. It was so awkward. Why can't I just say if I don't like something?
By the way, now everybody seems to agree the Nikon Z7 has serious autofocus problems. The overstatement of the year. Oh man, I'm sorry to hit the Z7 again.
We'll just get it out of the way.
The Nikon Z7 is a mirrorless D850. That was a big overstatement.
That crushed my heart.
Olympus said their 10 to 25 f1.7 zoom was the fastest zoom ever made.
Never even hurt me because I didn't believe it.
I personally use an f1.1 zoom all the time. Whoa. It's a speed booster on a Sigma lens.
Dang.
It works great. Hasselblad outperforms full frame DSLRs.
What kind of statement is that? I use both of those and that's not true.
Yeah, Hasselblad sponsored Carl Taylor to do a whole video series doing all this, but I examined it really carefully.
examine?
And it was rigged. It was just totally rigged. Like he used very old lenses and the settings were just non-optimal for the Nikon
I'm
camera.
uncomfortable with you saying that. You haven't talked to Carl.
The X-T3 shoots at 30 frames per second with autofocus. And then when we tested it, it came in at about 11 to 12.
That's just not right.
These are big overstatements. Which one do you think is the biggest, Chelsea?
The Z7.
Yeah, I agree. That was the one that I was most upset about.
Our best live guest, a list that Tony made that excludes no live guest. But they were all...
These are the nominees.
But they were all really great. Kai Wong, we finally got to meet Kai, and he was as funny and charming as I had expected. Nigel Barker, I thought he was cool before I was even a photographer. I admired his photography, so that was just really cool to have him on the show. Lindsay Adler had incredibly good tips and advice to give on portraits.
Yeah, she's really talented. Dom Camaraccia is like a crowd favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody absolutely loved his macro photography, and he's so open about sharing his knowledge.
Benjamin Kanarek and Tom, they were all so good. And Moose Peterson shook me to my core.
Yeah, I'm still not right. I'll never be the same.
We still get emails about that show. Oh my gosh.
Trey Ratcliffe, what a cool guy to actually talk
Dan and
to.
Sally, Rexy. I don't know how, we can't pick a favorite. You're going to pick a favorite?
Yeah, we have to pick a favorite. It's the Pixel Awards. Chelsea, who is the best live guest of the year?
Me.
No, it's a cop-out. I'm going to say the best live guest of the year.
I'm going to say Moose Peterson.
Is Moose Peterson.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched the Moose episode, definitely go back and watch the Moose episode. It's fascinating.
He challenged me on so many levels, and I think I grew as a person because of him. The biggest disappointment. Is it me again?
Chelsea Northrup. I was right away disappointed that the GH5S, which sounded like an amazing video camera, that they took away the sensor stabilization, which if you shoot with the GH5, that's like the most useful thing. And now we're forced to choose between a GH5 that has stabilization but doesn't have as good of a sensor, or the GH5S, which has a better sensor but no stabilization. And I hate making choices like that. Things in life should just get better and better and not make you choose.
No choices.
Yeah, I don't like the XH1 battery. I loved the Fujifilm XH1 when it came out, but they continue to put that little toy battery in there that lasts about like 12 frames and then it dies just as you're about to take the best picture of your life. It's this like serious pro grade camera, but with like a little kid toy battery in it. The EOS R could be the most useful video camera ever, except they just put like very useless 4K video in there with this really severe crop. And then the slow motion footage is just almost useless too. And you're just like, oh, you were so close. Why couldn't you go the whole way? And then the Z7 again, we keep picking on it, but a $3,400 camera. They priced it over the D850. They priced it, the A7R3 now is like $2,400. It's like $1,000 more than the comparable Sony. And it has this like frustrating focus and one SD cards, one memory card slot. Oh, so many disappointments this year.
Can you even manage to drum your knee with all that disappointment filling you right now? Oh, you can. You can pull it out. What is it?
It's got to be the XH1 battery.
Okay.
That's infuriating to me, especially because they reused that same battery on the XT3, and I love the XT3.
Okay.
Fuji, what are you doing? Okay.
You know what doesn't disappoint me? My Squarespace website. It was so easy to make. It's actually the first time me, an ADD person, was able to finish making a website. So there's that. You just drag and drop and everything looks beautiful. Tony, you have 3 because you're some kind of overachiever. And you could have a free trial today, no credit card needed. Just go to squarespace.com/Tony. And if you decide you want to keep it after your free trial, use the coupon code Tony to get 10% off.
Yeah, it's perfect for a portfolio or any type of website.
I'm excited.
Thank you, Squarespace.
To get into these, sorry to cut you off, Tone. I'm excited to get into these lens of the year, camera of the year, drone of the year.
Yeah, these are the big ones.
These are the choices that might make it so that we have another conspiracy.
our absolute favorite gear of the year. The lens of the year, we tested a lot of great lenses this year, but these are the ones that were new that really stood out to us. The Sony 400mm f2.8, the Sony 24mm f1.4, the Canon EOS R 50mm f1.2 with autofocus.
Yeah.
That was amazing. The Canon 28-70 f2, not f2.8, but f2. A huge lens.
f2.2.
The size of like a Volkswagen, but with just like the best image quality I've ever seen in a zoom. Like, wow. The Canon 70-200 f2.8 Mark III, which nobody thought was a big deal until we tested the contrast, and it was just so much contrast here.
Yeah.
Changed everything. And then most recently, the Nikon 500mm f5.6, which I think is an amazing wildlife lens at that price point. Almost unbeatable on a D500. So
that's
of
a
those,
lot of amazing glass. This is a very tough decision.
Yeah, everything's changing now that we have these new mirrorless mounts and they can redesign things.
Everything's changing.
So
Get your
Chelsea,
leg ready. Tony,
the lens of the year is...
I'm going to choose the Canon 50mm 1.2.
Yes, absolutely
You too?
a remarkable lens. It is the lens that I want more than anything. My favorite picture I've ever taken of you was taken with that lens, and it's not something other lenses could have done. Like, there's nothing else that can make that unique,
beautiful.
distinct look. The focusing was quick and accurate, and it's built like a tank. It's just very expensive. I really want...
How much is it?
Oh, it's too much.
You won't even say it? You won't?
I don't know the price. It's like $2,000 and something, but for a prime 50mm lens, that's a lot.
That's a lot, because people talk about getting a nifty 50 for like a couple $100.
The smartphone camera of the year. I can't say we tested
Ooh.
every one.
I can't say we tested more than 2.
We tested 2 exactly.
We tested 2.
But they were the 2 biggest ones, and this was big announcements for both companies.
This was big.
The iPhone XS Max, with its built-in like image stacking and computational photography and dual lenses, coming from the biggest manufacturer, Apple, versus the Pixel 3 XL from Google.
Get your knee ready. I'm going with the Pixel. Wow, you are not a drummer.
Yeah, I switched from Apple and the iPhone to the Pixel just because I liked the camera so much. And since they released it, they updated the night sight, which does like night photography. It's doing like 1-second shots handheld.
Yeah.
And they look beautiful. Like, I do side-by-side shots with SLRs, and the smartphone one looks better at night. Christmas lights and stuff, it's absolutely stellar. Like, and the colors on it really way better than the iPhone. I love this one little lens camera. It's fantastic.
But I switched back to the iPhone.
I probably will too soon.
Drone of the year. We have the DJI Mavic Air, the DJI Mavic 2 Pro, the DJI Mavic 2 Zoom, and the Parrot Anafi.
The Mavic Air was huge. Remember, we went out to Rhode Island to test this, and it was just so much fun. It was really compact, but it had just fantastic video quality, and it came in at a really low price point. Did gorgeous 4K video. And then the 2 new Mavic 2s, well, they ended up much bigger, and the Pro had kind of a disappointing lens for the price point, but then the Zoom provides an actual optical zoom, which is something we've wanted for a long time. That's really convenient.
Yeah.
But I think the winner has to be the Parrot Anafi.
Your drum roll gets shorter and shorter.
Not a DJI drone, but they made some novel design choices that eliminated having the props in the shot. It allows it to shoot upward, and you don't have to carry a separate charger because you can charge it with a regular USB charger. So it's like a more travelable drone than has ever existed, especially in the 4K realm. But maybe the biggest disappointment of the year should have been that Parrot announced that they're no longer doing consumer drones. So they released this like amazing piece of equipment that I love, and now they're just backing out of the industry.
Dang.
It's too bad. Okay, this is the big one.
Big one.
The camera of the year.
Jinx, you owe me a soda. Okay, it's between the Panasonic GH5S, the Pentax K1 Mark II, the Sony a7 III, the Fujifilm X-H1, the Fujifilm X-T3, the Nikon Z7, the Nikon Z6, and the Canon EOS R. Tony.
This is such a hard choice.
This is so difficult.
The X-H1 brought all the features, sensor stabilization, a good autofocus system, but it had that kind of small battery. The X-T3 brought all those same things, but took took away the sensor stabilization and gave us better focusing, but that same fantastic control scheme and a little bit better battery life.
I'd say that the Z7, the Z6, and the EOS R were really the most exciting announcements to me.
Yeah.
And so those just had so much hype around them. So those were like probably the most talked about cameras of the year. But our favorite camera of the year is the Fujifilm X-T3. You didn't drum roll for me.
Does that count if it's afterwards?
Yeah, I needed it.
It's so hard, especially compared to the Sony a7 III, which was groundbreaking for its price. But I felt like the Sony a7 III was kind of made up of parts of cameras we'd seen already.
Yeah.
Whereas the X-T3 had this like new novel focusing system and no viewfinder blackout when shooting sports. And it has just like the amazing controls and lenses for the Fuji cameras that we really love.
Always love the usability, how fun it is to use. But it also has incredible autofocusing during video mode as well. It's versatile.
It's versatile. It does 4K at 60 frames per second.
It's the winner. It was a tough one, but the X-T3 took it.
Congratulations, Fuji. It was a tough fight with all the big camera manufacturers putting in, but I think that is overall the best camera of the year.
So congratulations, Fuji. Feel free to send us an X-T3.
What did you think was the best and worst gear of the year? What were your favorite moments in the photographic world from the past year? What were your least favorite moments? What did you really hate that happened in 2018? We're only talking about photography. There's too much else going on in the world. I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Of course, give us a like and subscribe to see more free videos. And thank you to our sponsor, Squarespace. If you want just about any type of website, but especially a photographic portfolio, visit squarespace.com/Tony. There you'll get a 14-day free trial. You'll find out how easy everything is to use. You'll see just how awesome it makes your pictures look. And if you love it, and only if you love it, you can use the coupon code Tony to get 10% off. And it's not Toad. Coupon Toad.
I want a coupon Toad. I got jealous as soon as you said that. It's the coupon code Tony for 10% off. The coupon Toad will not be available until next year.
Thank you, Squarespace, and thanks for watching, and have a great 2019.
Guess what? We also got Pixel. Slightly photography related. We got her in 2018. Oh, you can only see my fingertips. Everyone always complains when she's in the frame because she's so ugly. Thank you for watching the Picture This Photography Podcast. Join us every Wednesday, approximately, for new episodes. Thanks. Bye. Drumroll. My favorite thing is Pixel!